Well, hello everybody. It's Tess here, and we are doing the 21-day happiness experience, and I'm at my networking event. So people might be coming through the door at any point. I must apologize for being a little bit late, but Wednesday mornings are just unpredictable. And as I said last week, we just roll with it. I know probably a lot of you are already committed to your day, so you're probably catching the replay, and that's okay, as long as you get here. Today's a big topic. Have I got my sign up? Let's see if we can get that in front of you. I think you've had a hint. It is all about forgiveness. And one wouldn't even think about forgiveness when it comes to creating a happy mind, let alone a happy routine or even a happy life. But the fact of the matter is, if you just think about it, what is forgiveness related to? It's related to something where somebody is aggrieved or disappointed or let down by somebody in a way, on an emotional level, that causes them to think things that don't have happy thoughts associated with. Sometimes it can be angry or sad or maybe even vengeful we could get to. And that can really strip a person of any happy experience. And it can be something that can fester in a person for years and years and years. And often even to the point where the forgiveness piece, you can't even remember why you were angry or whatever at someone. But one of the key things I wanted to bring into this call this morning is forgiveness often is actually better brought within. So you might internally forgive somebody, or actually even yourself, about something that happened in the past. You know, your part that you played in a situation or circumstances out with your control. But the letting go and the forgiveness from within you is the part that we are focusing on a lot today. Because, you know, you can go up to somebody and say, I forgive you, and that's beautiful, but it's really more about your relationship with yourself. If you say, I forgive you, but you haven't forgiven your part, or the forgiveness is not with you, you're still carrying that baggage around with you, and that impacts the happy style. So what I wanted to do is, I've got again another great set of notes that I'm going to share with you later on. But we often hold resentment, thinking we are somehow getting the other person back when we do not forgive. However, they are not affected by our refusal to forgive. We are. And that is essentially what that summarizes, is the explanation I gave you just before. There's a quote from Gautama Buddha. He said, resentment is like taking poison and expecting somebody else to die. Just think about that. So you swallow the poison, but your thoughts are on somebody else, expecting them to die. And what ends up happening is your thinking about that situation or that person ends up actually killing you, or at least your happiness or your enjoyment in life. So forgiveness is releasing the feeling that the other person owes us something and freeing ourselves from anger. You may believe that forgiveness is challenging, but when you understand who it is truly for, you, then it becomes a little easier. Yes, I'm reading notes this morning. So when you practice forgiveness, you will feel empowered. Forgiveness is freedom. Now, I had a situation many years ago where, it's funny, a relationship broke down. It was a marriage, and it didn't end very nicely. And I was still living in South Africa at the time, and there was a lot of anguish and pain. And so a lot of things were said and done that created hurt. And what ended up happening was, on many attempts, I tried to reach my ex to open up a conversation, and he refused it. And then one day, 2 years afterwards, we had a conversation, and I said to him, I'm so sorry for my part in the breakup, and I forgive you for the things that hurt me. And he said, no need. the forgiveness came a long time ago. And so although we forgave each other, we at the same time let each other go freely, openly and kindly into the future. So that's how we managed to work that out. But, you know, it is different for each person. So what forgiveness is not, let me tell you. Many people do not forgive because they have a misconception about what forgiveness truly is. Therefore, let's go over some of the things that forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not reconciliation with the person. It is not living in denial about a person's actions. It's not allowing the person to do the same behavior over and over again. Like, I forgive you, boom, back again. I forgive you, back to the same old thing. That's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is not having no consequences for a behavior. And it is not having the pain magically go away. So, in this worksheet I'm going to give you today, there is going to be some steps that you can take. Now, I'm not saying that you have somebody that you've got an experience with, that there is a letting go required, but step one is about forgiving yourself. And that piece is a quote from Edgar Cayce, if you know him. He was a kind of mystic, curious person who really got into psyche and all those things years and years ago. He says, true justice is paying once for each mistake. True injustice is paying more than once. Animals pay once, humans pay thousands of times. Every time we remember, we judge ourselves and feel guilt over and over again. So it's that guilt piece that is the underlying feeling that is associated with the unforgiveness or the unforgiving piece, where we relive the past or the situation, and we have to feel that pain. So I love that, because what it's saying is just move on. Easier said than done, because again, it's a habit, right? So many times in our lives we make mistakes, and we have to forgive ourselves for those mistakes. Most people have more resentment towards themselves than anyone else. There are two things that our minds unconsciously do when we feel guilty. One of them is to try and repay or make right our mistake. And that's often done excessively. And if we feel that there is nothing we can do to make something right, the second option we choose unconsciously is to punish ourselves. So, sometimes when you're, trying to speak to somebody about something that happened and they're totally refusing you, so you actually are being stopped from making amends for whatever happened or whatever your part was, and they stop you. You keep punishing yourself again and again, rather than saying, look, I've attempted it. Let me just resolve this for myself here, and then I can actually move on. And when and if that person is ever ready for us to have a conversation, then I'll be open to that. So there is some tasks here. So for the self-forgiveness piece, it is take a moment to reflect on your actions towards yourself or others in the past that you may regret. Are there any mistakes you made that you continue to beat yourself up for? If so, what? Okay. So that's the hard part, because that's, again, that piece where we are practicing authenticity. So we have to kind of own up, be a little bit honest with ourselves, and just put it down on paper. It's just between you and the paper. You're not having any declarations anywhere else. And then look at how you're punishing yourself for it. How are you not letting go of that incident, that situation, and how it's eating you up inside? Are you directly or indirectly punishing others for it? So are you not speaking to somebody because of the situation, or are you holding yourself back because of your feelings of guilt? How is it impacting? Your guilt is not going to undo what has happened. Even more importantly, holding on to this pain is causing further pain in your life. It is okay to let go now. Release yourself from the burden of carrying it with you. Now, I've done this exercise. I have managed to take guilt out of my life. And the funny thing is the way I've removed feelings of guilt in my life is I have attempted to become more aligned with what my actions are. So my attempt at all times is to live without creating a situation where guilt can come up. Now that is challenging, but it's a process. I didn't get it right overnight. It wasn't like some course in 15 minutes and boom, I was healed of guilt. It's a process of a time, but it's possible, and you can live so freely, because then when you do have an incident where you do feel that twinge or that behavior or that situation arose, you can go and tackle it with such ease and lead from a place of love rather than rage or anger, even though anger has home, has relevance, and has place. Hello, Karen Noble. Woohoo, guilt relief. Heavy stuff this morning. I know, it really is. And the thing is, so many people are living under a cloud of guilt that it actually takes the sort of shine off their life experience. But yeah, it is tough work. And for some people, it is more about finding that person you can actually work through this with. So somebody who is like a coach, if it's a deeper seated thing, perhaps counselor or therapist, but really do the work. Or, as I've always said, journal away. Just write yourself through the process, because you can heal so much that way. Apologize. If any of your self-grievance are towards others, consider expressing an apology through a letter, email, phone call, or in person. Courage. Remember not to be attached to the result, since it is about you, not them. Do not expect to be forgiven. And this is the part, I think, that is so empowering. You're doing it for you. You're not doing it for them, although you felt the injustice was towards them and you want to acknowledge that. So it's like, it's a level of honesty, I suppose. Now, reverse the roles. Maybe there's something that's happened and you're wanting somebody to come and apologize to you. You can't hope for that. You can't make somebody apologize. Again, that takes us back to the session on perspective. Each person in their view of the world is right. So this is a real awareness piece and an awakening piece. And it's not about letting things fester. It's how can we let it go peacefully so that it no longer holds us back from living the best life that we should be living, that we deserve to live. Just because somebody did something to me doesn't mean to say they get to hang over my life for the rest of my life. So I forgive them. That's the idea that we're sort of aiming for. So this is step 2, forgiving others. So write down or make a list of people you need to forgive and what you want to forgive them for. Include what you need to forgive yourself for as well, okay? So that first worksheet that you'll get where you're looking to self-forgive, that's what you can reflect to on that piece. Acknowledge the pain that the lack of forgiveness on your part has caused you, what that pain has caused you, and how it currently impacts your life. It is is it more painful than the actual experience? Now, that's going to be relative to each person's experience and each person's experience around that experience. So many words saying experience. I think you know what I mean. And also remember, it's a matter of processing. So it's not like just forgive. It's processing to that place where you can let it go. And I know that sometimes for some people can take a lot of time. Actually, for all people. But we just do it in different ways. Learn the lesson. So what are some things that you can learn from this situation? Are there any positives that have or can come from this experience? What lessons could the other person have learned? Sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes it's absolutely nothing. But in things that are perhaps more day-to-day, in a functioning way within, family unit, brothers, sisters, husband, wives, or colleagues at work, or an altercation with a person in a retail outlet or whatever. Those kind of things, easier to resolve through this process. When things are deeper seated, like they run back to our past or whatever, they've been around for a long time, that's the part that can become harder to process. So be gentle with yourself, take it easy, and hey, you get to let go and forgive when you are ready. But this is a way that you can begin to become ready at some point in your future. So let go. Did I say let go? Release any expectations from anyone else. This includes expectations of forgiveness or apologies from others, or changes in others' behavior. So yeah, you're doing the work. So you do the work. You let go. You do the process of forgiveness and everything. You even go to that person perhaps and say how you feel and how you're forgiving them, whatever you choose to do, whether it's email, face-to-face, or whatever. Doesn't matter what their response is. If they turn around and say, I'm never forgiving you, or whatever, it's okay. That's their journey. We're concentrating on our experience, our journey, because that's all we can control. That's all we have power over, is our own choices, our own decisions. And this is where you let go, you're free. They might still be all trapped up in it, and it might still be affecting their life, but you can move on. And actually, by you moving on, you break the thread, and maybe in time they too will be able to move on, even if you never know. But it's none of our business what other people are thinking, is it? Because if the person does not change, it is your responsibility to free yourself from the pain of resentment and do what's right for you, even if it means cutting ties with the person. What expectations do you release? Okay, so what are you going to let go when you let go of somebody who is the other side of your dilemma? Express forgiveness only if you feel it would be beneficial to you. Okay, consider expressing forgiveness to another through a letter, email, or phone call in person. Remember not to be attached to the result. So this is where you can contact the individual, but it's not essential. It is totally up to you, because it is about you and your results. So the forgiveness piece is more about you writing it out in your journal and letting it go that way. Maybe that conversation with that person can happen down the line. And live and be free. Forgiveness is about personal power. A life well lived is your best revenge. Therefore, take your power back. Focus on your desires. Don't do it because you'll show them. Do it because you want to live your life with freedom and happiness. Forgiveness is not an opportunity to learn, grow, and heal. You may even find that negative experiences were blessings in disguise if you can create a place for forgiveness and acceptance in your heart. Remember, forgiveness is 100% your responsibility. Only you can unlock the door to your prison and shift your life from limitation to freedom and joy. Tough love today, isn't it? Wow, Karen, I'm so pleased you're here. I think, the later start means a lot of people actually were in the room here with me this morning, so they're still having breakfast. But I'm pleased they're enjoying themselves. So a lot of food for thought this morning. Yes, I think, Karen, you were right. It is heavy stuff. But you know what? Make it a little bit lighter, whatever it might be for anybody who's listening in today. And every day that you move forward and you let go a little crumb of something, you'll be lighter and more able to live in the now, which was our day 1 of week 2, and have a new perspective on things, feel a more authentic self coming through. Your belief systems will shift as you discover what you are doing in this forgiveness piece. And so this is the magic twister. So nothing in life worth doing ever came easy. So just visualize and imagine a life with a little bit more of forgiveness of yourself and the other when you've journaled it out, processed it through, Imagine skipping through the fields in the springtime, with the wildflowers, and just a little bit lighter and a little bit more distant, dimming the light on that situation and putting your light, your newfound light, out into the world where you can spark new, happy, guilt-free, wonderful experiences. And I think that is how I would like to finish this morning's live, on a positive note. And if you need any help, if you would like to work through something that is particularly challenging, then please reach out to me. Let's make some time. Let's do the work, slow and steady, but let's actually shift some stuff when you're ready. Maybe January, after Christmas rather than before. But, please speak to me. Do not sit there if you've got stuff you want to talk about and let it get blocked or fester. Okay, that's not what this is about. This is about, in a week and a half's time, feeling lighter and happier with a vision of the world that you're moving towards, with a glint in your eye and a smile in your face, and that you've processed a few things that no longer serve you, do not warrant happiness, and they are going to have the light turned down on them. So I'll see you tomorrow back at our normal time, which is 8 a.m. And remember, any questions, comments in this feed, or please private message me and I will reply. Take care and have an amazing day. And thanks for joining me, Karen. You gave me a reason to stick it out. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.